Oh. Thank you for joining us. Tonight's Planning Commission meeting is being held in person and online. Commissioners, Planning Department staff, and members of the public are attending in the Wheat Ridge City Hall and also by way of the Zoom platform. Members of the public who are not present and wish to make comments may participate virtually by joining through Zoom, either on a device or by calling in. A Zoom meeting link and dial-in information can be found on wheatridgespeaks.org. In addition to being online via Zoom, we are also broadcasting this meeting on Channel 8 and wheatridgespeaks.org. When it is time for public comment, those who wish to comment on our Zoom connection use the raise your hand button. If you are dialing in, press *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute your phone. If you plan to speak online tonight, please keep background noise to a minimum. If you do not plan to speak, we recommend you simply view the meeting live by watching on Channel 8 or on wheatridgespeaks.org. We appreciate your participation in tonight's meeting. We hope to create a friendly and respectful atmosphere for public dialogue. I would now like to call to order the City of Wheat Ridge Planning Commission for February 6, 2025. May I please have a roll call of members?
Jonathan Shelkey. Christine Disney.
Here.
Daniel Gravy.
Here.
Patrick Quinn.
Here.
Michael Moore.
Here.
Sierra Keonis.
Here.
And Krista Holub and Will Kearns are absent tonight.
The next order on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand and join me. The next item is approving the order of tonight's agenda. Does anyone have any changes to the order of the agenda? Seeing none, the agenda will stand as published. Next, we will vote to approve the minutes from our last meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Is there a motion to approve the minutes from December 19th, 2024?
Move to approve minutes from December 19th, 2024.
May I have a second?
Second.
Please vote.
Motion approved 6-0.
We will now open the general interest public forum. This is a time for any person to speak on any subject not appearing on the agenda. If you plan to speak on an item that is on tonight's agenda, please wait until we get to those items. Those who wish to comment on Zoom, use the raise your hand button. If you are dialing in, press *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute your phone. All speakers are asked to limit their remarks to 3 minutes, and they may not donate their time. Is anyone signed up to speak? Is there anyone on Zoom?
Possibly, if anybody on Zoom is wanting to speak currently, please raise your hand.
No. All right. Thank you. I will close the public forum. Tonight we have one public hearing. If you comment during the public hearing tonight by choosing to testify, you are agreeing that the testimony you give will be the truth as you know it. I will now open the public hearing for case number WZ24-02. Commissioner Shelkey, would you please introduce the item?
Yes, this is an application filed by Evergreen Clear Creek Crossing LLC for approval of a specific development plan, an SDP, for a 3-building restaurant and park corridor on a property zone planned mixed-use development and located southwest of the 40th Avenue and Clear Creek Drive intersection.
Thank you. May I please have the staff report?
Yes, thanks. Good evening, Planning Commissioners. I'm Stephanie Stevens, planner with the Community Development Department at the City of Wheat Ridge, presenting case number WZ 2402, which is a request for approval of a specific development plan for the construction of a three-building restaurant and park corridor being coined the Lookout and located southwest of the West 40th Avenue and Clear Creek Drive intersection in the Clear Creek Crossing planned mixed-use development. I would like to enter into the record the contents of the case file, the zoning ordinance, the comprehensive plan, and this digital presentation. Property is within the City of Wheat Ridge. All appropriate notification and posting requirements have been met. Therefore, Planning Commission has jurisdiction to hear this case. Subject site is tucked along the west side of Clear Creek Crossing within Planning Area 6 of the planned mixed-use development. The site is currently vacant. A Lifetime Fitness facility lies adjacent to the site to the south, and a Hampton Inn hotel is currently under construction to the north. And applications were recently approved for a Bonfire Burritos drive-through restaurant and Primrose School to the northeast. The site to the southeast is the last remaining vacant lot on the west side of Clear Creek Drive. The internal roadway system and utility infrastructure bordering the site on the east side were completed in late 2022, with some anticipated improvements to Crossing Drive slated to be constructed concurrently with this site development. A trail bordering the west side of the site is currently under construction and anticipated to be completed in the spring. Subject site is located within Clear Creek Crossing planned mixed-use development zoning, shown in green on the screen, and is located within Planning Area 6, or PA6, which is also called the Harvest District, denoting this area as a commercial sub-district of the development. The site is surrounded by Clear Creek Crossing development on all sides, with the exception of the Coors Pond to the west, which is under a separate planned commercial development zoning. This request is for specific development plan, or SDP approval, which is the second step in a two-part approval process pertaining to planned developments. First step occurred in 2018 when Planning Commission and City Council approved the Clear Creek Crossing planned mixed-use outline development plan, which established the zoning. The zone change also included approval of a vision book that establishes the intended design and architectural themes and materials, as well as a design pattern book that includes the more substantive development regulations. Planning Commission recently reviewed an ODP amendment that altered the uses and development standards for the Clear Creek Crossing zoning and design pattern book and allowed the primary restaurant and entertainment district of Clear Creek Crossing to be relocated to the furthest west side of the development to ultimately facilitate the development of the subject SDP. The applicant is requesting to build 3 restaurant buildings totaling approximately 30,000 square feet, bordering a 0.67 acre park. Retail, restaurant, and entertainment uses are permitted in this planning area. I'll walk through proposed conditions in more detail in the next few slides, but the site also takes into consideration adequate vehicular access, planning area connectivity, and pedestrian and bike connections. So starting with access, the vacant 4.74 acre site shown in the red star on the screen is proposed to have the 3 buildings surrounding a 0.67 acre park plaza. The primary vehicular access point is proposed into the site via a roundabout extending from Crossing Drive to the east, which is planned to be constructed concurrently with the Lookout site and will connect users from 40th Avenue to the subject site and feed into surrounding signalized intersections. Bicyclists will be directed by signage to use the main bike facilities shown in green, including Clear Creek Drive and 40th Avenue, bike lanes, and the regional trail, which can be accessed from Clear Creek Drive just north of the Hampton Inn site, which is off the screen to the north. All of the area west of Clear Creek Drive is considered to be Block 4 of Clear Creek Crossing, and is being replatted to create lots for each individual user. Now to site design. The buildings are shown in blue on this slide with surrounding patios in gray. The buildings range in size from 6,800 square feet to 8,800 square feet, and the primary access point is shown to the east in red. Cross-access connections are provided to Hampton Inn to the north and Lifetime to the south, shown in smaller red arrows. Pedestrian connections are also accommodated to the north, west, south, and east to tie into surrounding streets, the trail system, and planting areas shown with the blue arrows. The SDP reflects 226 parking spaces. Parking is situated north, east, and south of the buildings and is broken into smaller lots to avoid large spans of parking areas. And parking is being screened from surrounding streets by landscaping. The design pattern book establishes setback and building orientation requirements. For planning area 6 within the Harvest District, and because the Denver water easement traverses this planning area along Clear Creek Drive, there are no build to requirements. Instead, buildings must be oriented proximate to the primary pedestrian routes. The buildings are primarily oriented to the internal plaza and West Side Trail. The proposed building orientation will result in enhanced pedestrian experience along the trail to the west and Crossing Drive to the east, and will allow for easy pedestrian and bike access to the trail as well as to the internal roadway network surrounding signalized intersections and adjacent commercial uses. The buildings will comply with setback standards of the ODP. Landscaped areas are shown in green on this slide. The project is providing 17.9% landscaping, just under the requirement for 20% of the lot to be landscaped. So the design standards in the design pattern book are intended to be a little bit flexible, and it specifically stipulate that an alternative may be considered if concurrence is achieved by the community development director. In this case, staff and the community development director find the proposed modification to be justified because the proposed landscape and open space design is in keeping with the intent of the design standards. Most developments spread open space throughout a site, but the plaza and gathering space proposed in this SDP creates a substantially more consolidated, usable, and attractive design. Additionally, perimeter landscaping, corner plazas, parking lot landscape islands, streetscape trees, planting beds near the buildings, and integrated planters have been maximized to the greatest extent possible. With parking reductions already in place, there's no way to increase the landscape coverage. So staff finds the design meets the intent despite being slightly below the 20% goal. A tiered retaining wall is shown hugging building C on the south to help with grades. I'll get into grading in just a minute. But first, let's talk about the plaza. The design pattern book includes plaza requirements for planning area 6 with a minimum of 10,000 square feet of plaza required. The slide shows enlargements of the interior plaza, which is almost triple the minimum requirement at 29,503 square feet, and it is 21% landscaped. It offers entertainment and amenities, including an amphitheater, bike station, picnic tables, benches, playground, artificial turf gaming area for cornhole and the like, and fire pits. The plaza incorporates overhead string lighting and artistic elements such as a tractor slide and water tower public art feature that create a unique public space. The plaza will be owned and maintained by the Metro District and will be publicly accessible. The applicant's intent is to acquire a common consumption liquor license to cover the restaurant and plaza. And the plaza will take on a more urban feel and be primarily hardscaped with trees and tree grates. Landscaping is situated primarily in the planting beds close to the buildings, entries, and trail to leave open plaza area for active recreation. Grades on the site present a unique challenge. There's about 12 feet of grade change across the site from north to south, 14 feet of grade change from west to east. Building C on the south area and its associated parking area are approximately 14 feet above the trail. Tiered retaining walls along the southwest parking area have been incorporated to create usable space, as shown on this slide. And while Applewood Sanitation District has indicated support of the design, a condition of approval has been added to confirm the Sanitation District approves of the retaining wall encroaching into their easement. The grades are highest at the south and east ends and level out to the trail north of the Plaza Amphitheater, where an accessible entrance to the trail will be provided. The architectural style is driven by the design pattern book and vision book, which call for the modern agrarian aesthetic that blends traditional agrarian forms and materials with a modern feel. It also requires strong attention to be paid to the pedestrian realm. The northern building A, to be owned by Prost Brewery, is proposed to be single-story and approximately 28 feet tall. Architecture is comprised of primarily Corten steel, glass, and wood, and takes on a traditional barn aesthetic integrated with a modern glass storefront. The building features material variation to enhance the pedestrian realm and a pitched roof that strongly reflects the agrarian theme. The middle building, B, is to be owned by the local restaurant group who operates Recess in Denver, and the patio at Sloan's Lake is proposed to be single-story with an upper-level mezzanine and a rooftop patio on the north side. It's the tallest of the three buildings at approximately 31 feet tall. Architecture is comprised of primarily glass and metal with wood accents and includes architecturally integrated metal planters at the pedestrian level that project out to create additional interest. While the overall material palette is similar to Building A, this building takes on a more modern character, incorporating sleek, straight lines and an angled roof. The taller portion of the building is fully glass with a metal border and accents. And the single-story portions on each end are primarily wood. Metal, wood, and glass are used consistently throughout the project. And while each building is distinctly different, the material palettes and style create a unique cohesion between the three buildings. The owner has relayed intent to operate up to 4 different restaurant concepts within Building B. The southern Building C is a speculative building for which users are not yet known. It's proposed to be single-story at approximately 24 feet tall and is the most modern of the three with flat roofs that vary in height and plane. Architecture is comprised of primarily metal, fiber, cement, wood, and glass with brick and stucco accents. The southern facade of this building is anticipated to contain a mural of farming aesthetic to further accentuate and tie into the theme. The Water Tower public art feature is also shown here, which will lie adjacent to Building C on the entry side. All three buildings incorporate outdoor seating areas fronting the internal plaza with wood, metal, and glass elements reflective of the theme. The building materials carry to all 4 sides, resulting in 4-sided architecture. Overall transparency is substantial and meets or exceeds requirements of the design pattern book for facades that face the street or public space. Since Wheat Ridge is served by special districts, we sent the application on referral to outside agencies, as well as completed an internal review. We did not receive objections from outside agencies, and coordination with these districts is ongoing. Civil construction document review is underway, and a plat is under review for the entire Block 4 area to create lots for each site, including the lookout. A recommended condition of approval has been added to denote that minor changes may be required of the site plan to coordinate this development with surrounding infrastructure improvements being constructed by the master developer. Before the hearing, the property was posted for 15 days and letters were sent to property owners and residents within a 1,000-foot radius, and the project was posted to Wheat Ridge Speaks. No comments were received. And therefore, staff finds that the SDP is consistent with the ODP, Design Pattern Book, and City Code. The SDP is consistent with the purpose of a plan development, and all agencies conserve the property. Ultimately, staff is recommending approval with conditions as listed in your staff report. That concludes my presentation. The applicant would like to make a presentation as well, and we got a team here for questions. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hello, good evening, planning commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to share Evergreen DevCo's application for this specific.
Before you start, can you give me
Yep.
your address?
Absolutely, yeah. 3252 Trenton Street in Denver, Colorado, 80238.
Thank you.
This SDP is focused on the restaurant and entertainment district located in Planning Area 6. My name is Derek Liss. I'm the Senior Development Manager with Evergreen DevCo and the Development Director of Longs Peak Metropolitan District. Both Evergreen and the City of Wheat Ridge have worked together in partnership since 2016 to deliver Clear Creek Crossing 110-acre mixed-use development. As a reminder, Evergreen started back in 1974, and over the last 50 years, we've completed over 700 projects in retail, multifamily, and industrial. To date, the anchor users that are now established and open for business at Clear Creek Crossing include Intermountain Health, Clear Creek Apartments, Outlook Table Mesa Apartments, and Lifetime Fitness. This current aerial photograph shows the proposed location of the lookout just north of Lifetime as outlined in white. Access to the lookout will come from multiple locations off of Clear Creek Drive, with the predominant entry on Crossing Drive, which is intended to be the main pedestrian connection from the hospital to the lookout. The lookout abuts the western edge of the project and has shared parking on the exterior of the 3 buildings. On the interior is a public park or plaza gathering space that will be shared by the customers of all 3 buildings and maintained by the Metropolitan District. Additional access to the lookout can be via the Prospect Park Regional Trail, which connects to the Clear Creek Trail on the north and then 32nd Avenue on the south. Patrons can walk or ride their bikes or e-bikes directly to the bike parking stations located adjacent to the trail and enter through the park on the west side. The development is proposed to be comprised of 3 buildings in a U-shaped configuration with the open side facing west towards Lookout Mountain. That's partly what it's named after, and overlooks the Coors Ponds. The northern building will be Prost Brewery, which is a German-style beer hall that serves authentic German-style food, such as brats and pretzels, to pair with their German-style beers. Prost has made a name for themselves in the Colorado market, as they have 4 existing locations along the Front Range, and they've been very well received. Their main entry is located on the east side of the building, and they will have a large dedicated patio on the south side that opens directly onto the public park. Their northern elevation will be kind of the back of house and where deliveries and employees enter. The middle building of the lookout is going to be called the patio, which will be operated by the owners of the existing Recess restaurant that is located in Denver's Low-High neighborhood. They also have a Recess restaurant that has recently opened in the Sloan's Lake neighborhood. So they're an experienced local operator. This is the first building you see as you enter the lookout from Crossings Drive. The concept is a food hall type experience where you have multiple food options within the building to choose from. As you enter from the east, you'll see like a large center bar with full service beverage offerings. They'll have their patio restaurant on one side, which has an eclectic menu of appetizers and entrees. They also have an Italian deli that will serve pizza and be more of like a market type offering. They've got an ice cream stall, and then also indoor golf simulators for entertainment. On this picture, you can see on the left side, that'll be the north side of the building with a rooftop balcony. That'll be part of the Recess restaurant overlooking the park and the ponds to the west. And then on the south side of the lookout is going to be a multi-tenant building that is slated to be about 8,500 square feet. The eastern 3,500 square feet of the building is planned to be a hashtag breakfast restaurant. That's part of the Troy Guard restaurant group. Very very good reputation, and don't know the exact number of restaurants they own now, but it's significant in the Denver area. Between the two sides of the is an open-air breezeway that will provide patrons with direct access from the southern parking lot directly to the public park and plaza area. And within the park itself, some proposed amenities include a kids' playground equipment in the form of a tractor and a silo with a slide. This keeps with the agrarian theme throughout Clear Creek Crossing. There's going to be a turf area for cornhole or similar type bar games, permanent seating, 3 dedicated fire pit areas, 1 in front of each respective building, and then a water tower replica with lookout signage, and then on the far west side, an amphitheater with real grass, which will have a permanent stage to allow for musical performances, outdoor movies, or broadcasts of big games and sporting events. That concludes my presentation. We are extremely excited to bring this whole plan to Clear Creek Crossing. We feel like it is going to be the major highlight and neighborhood hub for everyone to gather. So at this point, I'm happy to answer any questions that come to mind, or we've got some consultants on Zoom that can answer detailed engineering or architectural questions.
All right, thank you. I'll open the hearing for public comment. Those who wish to comment on Zoom, once again, use the raise your hand button. Has anyone signed up to speak?
Nobody on Zoom.
All right. I will now close the citizens forum, and I'll entertain questions from the commissioners. Commissioner Quinones?
I really have no questions. I just want to say thank you for the presentations tonight and the detailed information you provided. It was actually really useful.
Commissioner Gravy?
Yeah, really impressive plan. Quick question on the plaza. It said a bike station. Is that just like a little bike repair area, or what does that mean?
So that we have bike racks for people to lock their bike racks, and I think we have 22 or 23, something like that. So significant bike parking. Then there's like a bike repair station. So if anyone's taking the regional trail, you can put your bike on there. There's going to be multi-tools there that can allow you to fix anything that may be wrong. And then also an e-bike charging station is what we're contemplating, trying to figure out the best way to incorporate that. And that's going to be just west of the northern building, between the building, the Prost building and the trail. There's kind of a nice spot where people can enter the trail from the parking lot, or if they're already on the trail, it lends itself to getting off there and entering the lookout.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I think often about how to maximize the trail connection component. Things like, looks like that's been considered. And then also on the plaza, the amphitheater component, is that then going to have like some kind of permanent like screen that is included for the movie games thing?
We're looking at, we've got an AV consultant that has all these state-of-the-art technologies. We've got the full gamut to choose from. They can, as you can imagine, some are very, very expensive and very technical. We want it to be user-friendly so that each of the restaurant users can operate it if they want to do something. So at the minimum, it would be like a screen like what's above you guys that would pull down and be a projection system. That helps in inclement weather or in the winter months where it can just be rolled up and stored. But they do have some all-weather type screens that we're weighing the pros and cons of. You know, how durable are they going to last in Colorado? I'm a little just reluctant to commit to something like that. So we're working through those details right now, but it will have a screen capability at all times.
Okay, all right, well, exciting stuff. Thanks, that's all I have.
Commissioner Moore,
No questions at this time. Thank you.
Commissioner Quinn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate the detailed presentations and all the pictures. One real quick, kind of small question. Is there an age limit on playing on the tractor?
The technical design says 5 to 12, but
Just asking for a friend. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Commissioner Shelkey.
I don't have any questions.
I don't have any questions either. Any additional questions that may have arisen? All right, thank you. I will now close the public hearing. I will entertain a motion.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion. I move to approve case number WZ 2402, a request for approval of a specific development plan for a 3-building restaurant and park corridor on property located within Planning Area 6 of the Clear Creek Crossing Plan Mixed-Use Development, southwest of West 40th Avenue and Clear Creek Drive, for the following reasons. The specific development plan is consistent with the purpose of a planned development as stated in section 26-301 of the Code of Laws. The specific development plan is consistent with the intent and purpose of the outlined development plan. The proposed uses are consistent with those approved by the outlined development plan. All responding agencies have indicated they can serve the property with improvements installed at the developer's expense. The specific development plan is in substantial compliance with the applicable standards set forth in the outlined development plan and with the city's adopted design manuals. With the following conditions: minor site adjustments may be required to align with civil construction plans and their replat to coordinate this development with surrounding infrastructure improvements. Approval from Applewood Sanitation District for easement encroachments shall be required prior to issuance of building permits. The associated subdivision plat, case number MS 2402, shall be recorded prior to recording of the subject SDP. The developer shall enter into a development agreement with the city to be recorded with the county clerk and recorder prior to issuance of building permits. Building permit submittals shall be consistent with the SDP.
May I have a second?
Second, Madam Chair.
Any discussion before we vote? Any comments? Commissioner Quinn.
Thanks, Madam Chair. I just think this is going to be a really nice western gateway into the city of Wheat Ridge, whether you're using the Clear Creek Trail or traveling up and down the I-70 corridor, or if you have to stay at the hospital visiting a loved one or a friend for an extended stay. We've got those hotels that are going to be there that are really nice. I think there's a really well thought out, planned deal we have here, and I really, once again, really appreciate the presentation and the detail that you have all done. I'm really excited to see that. No, I can't ask a question. Never mind. Thank you.
Any comments from the children's table? No.
The fun table, you mean? Yeah, I'll just quickly follow up on Commissioner Quinn's comments. I think that it's exciting to have a space that really kind of ties in nicely to our neighbors to the west, and Golden, and how there's so much going on commercially that in that part of town that will really tie in nicely to bring Wheat Ridge into the fold. And I would just want to continue to encourage the consideration of, excessive light and any kind of disturbance to what is really a pretty sensitive area ecologically in some ways. But it's a very tasteful design, and I look forward to seeing, in particular, the pedestrian and bike components activated, and hopefully there will be opportunity to expand on that as we continue to develop this side of town. So, thanks.
I've been on the Planning Commission for 5 years now, and I have been waiting patiently for this part of the development, and you guys hit it out of the park. Thank you for bringing Wheat Ridge into the 21st century with our restaurant choices, and it's a great design, and I think it'll be a wonderful addition to the west side of town. All right, commissioners, no other comments? Please vote.
Motion approved, 6-0.
All right, next on the agenda is old business. Do we have any old business?
Thank you, Madam Chair. No old business.
And new business?
New business. We do have a meeting scheduled for the 20th of this month, February 20th. We also have March 6th will be the city plan phase 4 update. So I hope you all can attend that meeting. The meeting on the 20th will be the Lutheran Legacy Campus rezoning. It will be a public hearing, and we do expect some of the public to attend. So also on the 20th, and this had already been set up with the consultant team for the city plan process, starting at 4:30 over at the rec center, there will be a public open house for phase 4 of the city plan. So hope to see a couple of you there. And other than that, I don't have any additional new business. Thank you.
Commissioner Shelkey.
Yeah, I would just like to talk a little bit about what's been done to 29th in Denver. That there was a protected bike lane that Denver went ahead and put in, and it goes from Sheridan to Zuni. And it wasn't without controversy. They had to make some compromises. They had to allow some parking for businesses and stuff on it, but they did get it done. And they also have in it, which I think is kind of interesting, is speed bumps. And they have about, I think four or five speed bumps, but they have signs for more, which I think is interesting because I was always told that you couldn't do that on 29th because it was a corridor for emergency vehicles. But apparently you can't. So it's really interesting. And then the feedback, I checked on Nextdoor site because I figured there'd be a lot on there, and there wasn't. People have been asking questions about it, and there are some people who are real haters on it, but the majority of people aren't. And I think that's just a sign of the times now that people are really tired of the speeding that's going on and realizing that you're not going to get a handle on it with more police patrols or anything like that. You have to structurally do something different to the roads to slow people down. That, I think, is the only way it's going to work. So anyway, it's interesting. Just be careful of the speed humps. Slow down.
I hate to burst your bubble, but I live right by a speed bump, and I see people catch air all day long. It does no good. All right, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Madam Chair.
May I have a second?
Second.
Commissioners vote.
Motion approved, 6-0.